Hi, friends. Thank you for joining Raquel and I for another one of our vision castings. So, for this one, we actually were really inspired. Something that our team tells us all the time, our upline tells us to have grace with ourselves. So, I came across a podcast that I'd never listened to before, and it really spoke to me. And it's all about self grace and having more grace than you do grudges, at least when it comes to yourself. Um, because in things like in life, there's things that you would never tolerate for someone else, right? So if someone made you feel like shit all the time, if they made you second guess yourself, or made you feel like you like guilty, or like you had to constantly win their love or affection, you wouldn't tolerate that, right? So why would you tolerate that from yourself? The reality is that we would cut them out, but we wouldn't do it to ourselves. We don't practice what we preach when it comes to self love, self forgiving, self acceptance of all of those things, having grace with yourselves. We don't hold ourselves to the same standard that we in turn hold other people to, right? And that's crazy. What's more powerful than like forgiving yourself and having more grace? So, as long as your intentions are pure and clear and you have taken the steps to show that and to prove that, then there's nothing not good enough about you. And I want you guys to know that there's nothing not good enough about you. Okay. You, Raquel, tell
You
us.
deserve, yeah, that's awesome. So you deserve to forgive yourself, to be free of fighting yourself, of trying to prove your worth to yourself. You deserve more than feeling good enough for you. It's much easier to forgive other people than it is to forgive ourselves. And why is that? Because of mistakes we've made, because of things that did or didn't happen in our life, because you fell short when you shouldn't have, because you're not where you should be, or somehow that means you're less than. So question number one, you guys, why are you allowing yourself to treat you this way when you would never tolerate it from anyone else?
So true. I love that. Such a good question. Once you guys are done answering that question, on pause us then. And I want you guys to realize that grace is simply just showing yourself a little bit of kindness. It's compassion. It's understanding for yourself and realizing that this is the equivalent, like grace for yourself is the equivalent of walking away from someone in life that doesn't treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, that pulls you down in life. That's powerful, right? And I want to make it clear too that a lot of times people say like, well, then I have to start all over. Or what if, if you do it that way and you do the walking away, then like, okay, well, now I'm starting from scratch. I'm starting from zero. But you're not. You're starting from experience. And it's important to realize that you won't make those same mistakes again. You'll be more kind to yourself. You'll have more compassion in a different situation. So just know it's not starting over. It's starting from experience. And that is powerful. Um, I want to also remind you the grudges that you're holding, they're not going to change anything. The grudges that you are currently holding, like to yourself, against yourself, they aren't going to change anything. Raquel, talk to me a little bit more about grace and compassion.
Yeah, so going off of grace, I listened to this podcast, right? And it was with Cami, and she came across this philosophy, right? And it was a teaching on how we should actually be quitting one thing a week. And like this was this big ordeal, this word quit, because we shouldn't be quitters. Like as an entrepreneur or whatever, like quitting just should be off the table. So when she dug deep into it, it made sense. Like, why would we do that? And it's because we're always evolving, right? We're always changing, going through this journey of personal growth. And we need to quit the things that are no longer serving us, things that no longer bring us value. And she gives so many examples. And the reason, before I go into the examples, the reason why she says one thing is because if you try to do all things, you're just going to drop the ball. You're just going to give up, and you're not going to do it. So one thing a week, and it could be complaining, self-sabotage, breaking promises, blaming, making excuses, feeling guilty when you're working, feeling guilty when you're not working, eating really bad foods, and shrinking yourself to fit places that you've already outgrown. which can relate to comfort zones. So going based off of the philosophy of quitting one thing, what is one thing that you can quit or let go of this week? Because what you focus on, you get.
I love that. Yes. And like all of the things that you talk about are things that like the examples you listed are things that I'm like guilty of myself. So it's definitely an eye-opening thing. Okay, so that was question number 2. Question number 3. I want you guys to let go of all of the blame, the resentment, the guilt, the bitterness. Write a letter to yourself of forgiveness. Whatever you need to forgive yourself for, put it down. Write yourself a letter. And then question number 4, and the last one that we're leaving with today. Because we want you to replace all of those, the bitterness, the guilt, the blame, the frustrations, all of that, we want you to replace it with something that's more graceful, with kindness, compassion, understanding. So now we want you guys to write affirmations that include all of those things: grace, kindness, compassion, understanding. So one of the things that I got from the podcast was how he said that sometimes it's literally as simple as saying, I choose grace today. I choose grace today. And obviously we want you to write more than just I choose grace when it comes to this, but just know that if you're struggling with where to start because you don't know what, like, you can just say, I choose grace, I choose kindness, I choose compassion. And that can at least get you started on what kind of affirmations that you can come up with in this process. So that is all that we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us. We just ask that if you found any little bit of this helpful, or if you see a teammate that needs this, that could use this, we just ask that you share it with them so that it can help them as well. So we hope to see you guys on one of our vision castings live. It's every Tuesday and Thursday. Jump in the team chats for the info. See you guys.
Bye.